dictionary definition of a dormitory in the glorious United States of America is a university or college hall of residence. In other words, where all the students live. However, what's not included in this definition can sometimes be a challenge to put into words exactly, depending on where you went to school, but rest assured, if you've ever lived in a dorm before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Any privacy you may have taken for granted before moving in is rapidly thrown out the window. No matter what time it is, there's always someone awake a few doors down, and taking a shower suddenly becomes this oddly political affair. What I mean by this is, whenever the hot water got a little scarce on one side of the building, there would be this massive migration to the opposite side. Look guys, I sure didn't kill the hot water heater in the dead of winter in the West Wing. Just cut me some slack, all right? Okay, so after spending a full year as just another random guy living in a college dorm, I decided to make the ultimate sacrifice and become an RA.
Boo, you fun killer.
Okay, here's the thing. RAs get a lot of flack and are oftentimes labeled lame-o goody two-shoes who get a little too much enjoyment out of being in other people's business. But for me, as well as a majority of the other guys, we were just looking to make a few extra bucks in college. And another huge perk for me personally was having a room entirely to myself. Not because I'm an antisocial hermit, quite the opposite actually. It's just at the time I was really invested in this little website called YouTube. Perhaps you've heard of it. And when you're creating videos on the regular, it's just a little bit easier when you have a room all to yourself. Besides, who needs a roommate when you have awesome editing skills, am I right?
Whoa.
Yeah, okay. If there's one thing I learned in college, it's just how quickly things can escalate for me when I'm alone with a video camera. Or a mirror for that matter. Hey kids, now it's time for a story about PJ being a massive idiot in front of a mirror. This is gonna probably be the most obvious statement ever, but one thing about college dorms, especially guys' dorms in my experience, is they are oftentimes not the most homey places. Cinder block walls, polished concrete flooring, metallic doors that clang every time you knock, and cold fluorescent light fixtures that a quarter of the time mysteriously flicker despite being replaced multiple times. You get the picture. Well, in this particular story, I'm gonna be focusing on these light fixtures for just a bit. There's this jagged acrylic plate that encases the fluorescent light tubes, and one, prevents people from messing with the light, and two, helps disperse the light throughout the room. I'm not a light expert, but I'm pretty sure that's what's going on there. One day I was rocking out really hard in front of my little dinky dorm room mirror, and I even remember what song it was. It was Papa Roach's Last Resort. As soon as the chorus hit, I aggressively swung my fist into the air and discovered immediately how truly unforgiving that jagged acrylic plate is when you run your bare knuckles across it like a madman. In all honesty, I can't even listen to Last Resort anymore without cradling the knuckles on my right hand. And the worst part of this whole thing was having to go to the cafeteria later that day and tell all my friends that no, I didn't get in an epic fist fight. I just was being a massive dork in my dorm room. Okay, let's get back to something a little less self-deprecating. Me deciding to be an RA. The way I like to handle things generally was the ever popular "please don't let me catch you doing stupid things" approach, which most of the time worked for me without a problem. But if I happen to roll across a person, I don't know, puking their guts out in the hallway after trying to secretly throw away a gratuitous amount of alcohol in the bathroom trash can, I kinda had to do something about that. 90% of the time, no problems. The guys on my hall were super chill. Except once. As an RA, for a majority of the time, work hours were just whenever a situation required attention. But every weeknight, two of us would hold the prestigious title of the on-duty RA, which meant any and all problems that presented themselves, we were the ones in charge of dealing with that situation. From, I think it was 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., we were at the front desk. And then after that, our number was posted all around the lobby. So even if it was 4 a.m. in the morning, we could help you out. And for the weekends, there was only one dedicated RA for the entire time. Yeah, that's some pressure right there, baby. One specific Saturday night, I was the on-duty RA, and from about 6 p.m. to 11 p.m., nothing. So naturally, after sitting at the front desk for a good while, I went up to my dorm room, and midnight rolled around, and still nothing. I turn my cell phone on to make sure that I can hear in case anyone calls me in the middle of the night, and I lay my head down and fall asleep. At about 2 a.m., I think I hear a knock at my door, but I'm not 100% sure, so I sit up and look at the door and listen carefully. I don't hear anything else. I check my phone to see if anyone had called. No missed calls whatsoever. So after waiting for a brief period, I lay my head back down and I'm out like a light. 30 minutes later or something like that, I hear this earth-shatteringly loud metallic bang. I rapidly sit up and start looking around the room in utter confusion. A second later, there's another loud metallic bang, and I soon discovered that someone is kicking my dorm room door. I start to lean forward and flip on the light switch to my room, but then the person kicking my door starts to yell.
Get out of here right now, you little b****. I'm gonna tear your head off. I know you're in there. I can hear you.
Now, I could tell y'all that this was the moment I jumped out of bed and valiantly swung the door open and responded with, "What is all this commotion about?" But that would entirely be a lie.
Hey, open the f***ing door.
You see, in that specific moment, I honestly thought whoever was on the other side of my door wanted to kill me. So I grabbed my little dinky nightstand, got into a defensive position, and waited for my door to come swinging open, ushering in, who knows, a raving lunatic? For clarification's sake, the banging and the screaming didn't stop. It continued to escalate and get more intense as I stood in utter confusion trying to figure out what to do next.
I know you're in there. Open the door. I'm gonna beat this out of you.
Every part of me wanted to shine a light at the door to confirm that it was in fact deadbolted, because I knew if it wasn't, they were definitely gonna get in. But I was also freaked out because I was thinking maybe if I shined a light at the door, then they would know I was in the room and then I would be totally toast. But then I heard a second loud voice echo from far down the hall yelling, "Shut up, you idiot, he's clearly not in there." And that's when things got deathly quiet. I held my breath for what felt like an eternity until finally there was one last violent kick to my door and then heavy footsteps walking down the hall. At this point, I was so wide awake, it wasn't even funny. Like, my adrenaline was on hyperdrive. So I just kind of paced around my dorm room trying to figure out what in the world just happened. I remember looking out the window several times trying to see if anything was going on in the parking lot. Naturally, there wasn't a shred of evidence anywhere, and I still to this day have no idea what that whole situation was about or who was banging on my door. But I can say this, I thank God every single day that I remember to deadbolt that door, because yeah, who knows what would have happened if whoever that was happened to open my door and I was fast asleep in bed. So yeah, that would be probably the craziest thing that happened to me when I was an RA. I mean, obviously there's a lot of stories I could tell about just different situations, but I figured this would be just a fun video to put together. But if any of y'all were ever RAs, I would love to hear y'all's stories below. Also, I want to give a massive shout out and thank you to Riley Wilson, who's a student at my alma mater and collected a lot of the B-roll at the dorm that I was an RA at. Thank you so much, man, for helping take this video to the next level. Much appreciated. Is there anything else? Melanie, James, and I, also known as Crushing Planes, are going to be releasing a new song very soon. So if y'all aren't already, be sure to follow us on Instagram and all that good stuff. I'll include links in the description. And Melanie wanted me to specify that we're actually in the middle of moving. So in case anyone was looking behind me wondering what in the world is going on back there, that's why there's nothing on the walls.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy.